Welcome to your news and features electronic magazine that centers on the different facets of motoring, now in its 34th year. This is Motoring Today. I'm Ray Louie Gamboa.
And I'm Susie Gamboa. Here are this week's features to watch out for. On Motoring Forum, we shall discuss the Transport Department's intensified operations against colorum vehicle operators. Our road safety reminder on the Young Street Smarts portion centers on what to do when one encounters a double solid yellow line road marking. This week's Spine Chuper shall be about the impropriety of playing loud music in PUVs. The public service segment centers on non-cyclists who use the exclusive bike lane. Showcase this week shall have the midsize sedan from Mazda, the Mazda 6 2.5L Skyactiv G-Turbo sedan. While for race weekend, we'll have Tuason Racing's plans and programs for 2021.
All these plus the latest news in transportation and traffic management, as well as developments in the automotive industry, are in this week's edition of Motoring Today. Join us.
I think my dad is secretly a superhero. He's the coolest, smartest, strongest person alive. No matter where we go, he always makes sure I feel safe. And he isn't afraid of anything. My dad likes to call that the power to lead. I call it his superpower.
Welcome back to Motoring Today. Here now are the latest news and developments in the country's transportation and traffic management. More people are using bike lanes and going to work these days. More bike lanes have been established. This has raised concerns over the safety of cyclists and over how other motorists are adjusting to seeing more bikers and bike lanes. A manual should help ease these concerns.
The Department of Transportation and SM Supermalls are working to help motorists, cyclists, and pedestrians safely adjust to the presence of more bikers and bike lanes on major thoroughfares. The DOTR and SM are distributing what they call the Active Transport Manual, a passport-sized booklet that seeks to educate cyclists, motorists, pedestrians, and other road users with regard to safety, courtesy, and etiquette for streets. Initially, 140,000 copies of the manual will be distributed for free at SM malls nationwide. The manual provides safety guidelines for cyclists from the use of safety gear to regular bicycle inspection and maintenance, the use of hand signals, identifying blind spots to avoid crashes, how to make safe turns, and road protocols. These should also help other motorists on four-wheeled vehicles or motorcycles become aware of how to safely adjust to the presence of more cyclists on the road. During the launch of the Active Bike Manual initiative, DOTR Secretary Arthur Tugade pointed out that bike lanes were being established even before the pandemic. Tugade pointed out that 296 kilometers of bike lanes have already been completed with pavement markings, bollards, curbs, and solar studs. Plans calls for the completion of 535 kilometers of bike lanes in Metro Manila, Metro Cebu, and Metro Davao before year-end. SM Supermalls President Stephen Tan said that in support of efforts to encourage more people to use bicycles, SM malls nationwide now have 500 bike racks at 80 bike repair stations.
Private sector support is helping drive efforts to encourage the use of bicycles for personal mobility and to make it safer for cyclists and other motorists on the road. The business sector in Pampanga appreciates initiatives and projects of the NLEX Corporation to make motoring and the movement of goods among communities in the province faster and safer.
The Pampanga Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated, or PAMCHAM, supports initiatives being undertaken by NLEX Corporation that keep up with the growth of many communities in the province and stimulate investments in the local economy. PAMCHAM said it supports the implementation of road network expansion projects to be undertaken by NLEX in collaboration with the Department of Public Works and Highways. In a press statement, PAMCHAM President Nestor S. Mangio said, "We highly encourage more infrastructure development projects in Pampanga to keep up with the growth of our communities." PAMCHAM cited projects such as the Santo Tomas Interchange, the Aquino Byway extension connecting San Fernando and Mexico, and the Atlu-Bola Bypass Road in Mabalacat City, which are seen to further stimulate investments in the province. Earlier, NLEX said it was working closely with the DPWH on how to safely and efficiently incorporate projects in Santo Tomas, Mexico, and Santa Ines, Pampanga into the existing expressway system. These new projects are a part of a multi-billion Pampanga Circumferential Road Master Plan being pushed by the local government to spur development and improve travel between and among various cities and municipalities. NLEX Corporation President and General Manager J. Luigi L. Bautista said NLEX will continue to be a trusted partner of both private and public sectors in undertaking projects that will boost mobility, safety, and progress.
Support from traders and businessmen is expected to facilitate approval of projects proposed by NLEX in the province of Pampanga. The Metro Manila subway is coming along. You better believe it. The DOTR even has patriotic names for machines digging the tunnels for the subway.
The Department of Transportation has reported new updates on the Metro Manila subway project. Much of the vital heavy parts of two tunnel boring machines that will be doing the work of digging the tunnels for the Metro subway are now in the MMSP stockyard in Tandangsora, Quezon City, the DOTR said. The needed accessories and minor parts of the TBMS are now safely stored at the SFTE JV warehouse in Valenzuela, it added. And already, DOTR Secretary Arthur Tugade has revealed the names given the two initial TBMs, Kaunlaran and Perlas ng Silangan. Kaunlaran and Perlas ng Silangan are expected to commence tunneling operations before this year is out. Earlier, the DOTR said that when completed, the Metro Manila subway will have 15 stations from Quirino Highway in Quezon City to the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 3 in Pasay City and the FTI complex in Taguig City.
Will the subway lead us to progress and become a pearl of the Orient, as the name of the TBM suggests? Well, we certainly hope it will. Those are the latest news and developments in transportation and traffic management. Coming up next is Motoring Forum, brought to you by Suzuki Philippines. Colorum transport operators have always been a problem that transport authorities can't ever solve. Now, with the COVID-19 pandemic, it is imperative that all forms of public transport comply with health and safety protocols. How can authorities ensure Colorum transport operators, which naturally operate clandestinely, are complying with health protocols? Motoring Forum discusses government initiatives to catch and penalize them.
The video showed a truck stopped at what looked like a dark street corner. People came out from the back of the truck and were herded onto waiting vans. Some wore masks, a few improperly, with nose uncovered or with masks on their chin. The video revealed a new modus operandi of Colorum transport operators. The truck was smuggling passengers into the NCR Plus to avoid quarantine checkpoints, with Colorum vans taking the passenger to destinations within Metro Manila. If not for the video that went viral on social media, transportation and health authorities would not have known about trucks transporting people in the wee hours of the morning and vans illegally ferrying passengers. Many IATF quarantine guidelines were violated by people shown in the video, including the drivers of the trucks and vans. Anti-Colorum regulations were also violated. An incensed Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade took swift action to go after the people smuggling and Colorum operators and put a stop to these kinds of operations that compromise government efforts to stop the spread of the deadly contagion. This incident comes on the heels of reports that more than 80 individuals were tested and found positive for COVID-19 infection upon entry into the Bicol region during the Holy Week break. The individuals are allegedly to have taken Colorum transportation. While transport authorities understand the public's need for mobility, they are also concerned about ensuring that transport modes made available don't become vectors for transmission and spread of COVID-19. The DOTR and health authorities are reminding people that violators of quarantine protocols face criminal liabilities and fines. Violators of the minimum public health standards face 1 to 6 months imprisonment and a fine of 20,000 pesos to 50,000 pesos. Colorum van operators will be fined 200,000 pesos for each violation, while Colorum buses will be fined 1 million pesos. The truck drivers who smuggle persons into NCR Plus could be held criminally liable for a violation of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act of 2003, which is punishable by imprisonment of 15 years to life. According to DOTR, the 2 drivers of the truck in the viral video have been identified and their licenses have been suspended. The truck's license plates were confiscated. A show cause order has been issued against the owner of the truck, and the drivers were also told to report at the LTO Region 5 office. At the same time, the LTO has reported that almost 500 personnel from their central office, NCR East and West, Region 4A, and 5 had inspected around 12,000 vehicles in separate operations. This resulted in the apprehension of 78 vehicles, 51 for Colorum operations, and 27 for violation of IATF and DOTR health and safety protocols. Authorities are also looking into the operation of transportation terminals to see if they are also strictly implementing health and quarantine protocols. The DOTR reported that IACT enforcers were deployed to the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange as part of intensified operations against violators of health and safety protocols in public transportation.
While catching and penalizing Colorum operators is important, this should come with measures to ensure that there is more than enough safe, efficient, and affordable, legitimate public transport to meet demand. That is our Motoring Forum this week, courtesy of Suzuki Philippines.
I think my dad is secretly a superhero. He's the coolest, smartest, strongest person alive. No matter where we go, he always makes sure I feel safe. And he isn't afraid of anything. My dad likes to call that the power to lead. I call it his superpower.
You are back with us here on Motoring Today, and in line with our lifelong commitment to promote road safety, here is this week's road safety tip in cooperation with Toyota Motor Philippines.
Kadalasang makikita ang double solid yellow line sa mga tulay. Ang ibig sabihin nito ay bawal kang mag-overtake sa kahit anong oras dahil maaari kang maaksidente katulad ng ipinapakita sa animation. Roads that have double solid yellow lines are often busy, so be a responsible driver at huwag mag-overtake.
Continuing with this week's edition of Motoring Today, let's now focus on proper driver's demeanor, especially for those driving PUVs. From Mitsubishi Motors Philippines, here is Spying Chuper this week.
Payong chopper lang kaibigan, ako si Daniel Villegas, isang kapwa new chopper. Iwasan po natin ang pagpatugtog ng sobrang lakas ng musika sa ating sakyan, lalo na habang ito'y tumatakbo sa daan.
Dapat nating malaman na ang pagpapatugtog ng loud music sa loob ng sasakyan, pampasahero man ito o pribado, ay di lamang nakakapwerhisyo. Ito rin ay delikado. Kapag tayo ay nagpapatugtog ng malakas, ito ay nagdudulot ng ingay at nakakaabala rin sa ibang tao. Ang atensyon natin ay nababaling sa musika at hindi sa pagmamaneho natin. At kung tayo ay distracted, hindi tayo alerto sa mga nangyayari sa ating kapaligiran. Kapag ito ang nangyari, di lamang ikaw ang madidisgrasya, pati na rin ang ibang motorista.
Kaya palaging tandaan, habang tayo ay nagmamaneho, lagi tayong alisto sa ating paligid. Ito po si Daniel Villegas, payong chopper lang kaibigan mula sa isang kapwa new chopper.
Your city is about to change. Are you ready? Ready to rise? Ready to rock? Ready to go? Ready for more? ready to rule the city. The all-new Honda City, ready to rule.
Welcome back to Motoring Today. World of Motorsport is next. The COVID-19 pandemic hit local motorsports hard, especially organizers and participants of motorsports events. This edition of Race Weekend takes a look at how one of the country's top organizers of motorsport series and events, Tuason Racing, coped with the pandemic. The year 2020 was supposed to be a great year for local motorsports. The previous year saw a proliferation of grassroots racing events. More events, local and regional, for racers looking to level up beyond grassroots racing. A growing fan base, more participants and spectators, more major and minor sponsorships. It was a year that Tuason Racing, the leading motorsports organizer taking local motorsports past the grassroots level, saw as a celebration towards greater things. But then, the COVID-19 pandemic reached local shores.
Last year was a big surprise for everybody. We were planning a really big year in terms of motorsports because of our 21st year anniversary. And then all of a sudden we were in lockdown, just like everybody else found themselves stuck at home.
Back then, few predicted the lockdown would last long. Just 2 weeks of Netflix, a few days of binging on K-drama, and it's back to business. But as quarantine restrictions continued to be extended, Tuason Racing decided to try their hand at organizing an e-motorsports event. It was something that they've been thinking about anyway, even before the pandemic hit. And it was also an opportunity to help out frontliners.
We started to put into action our idea of running virtual races. Our first foray into online esports last year was called Race for Frontliners, and the platform was PS4. We had over 280 players in that series, and we had over 400,000 views, and we had over 400,000 pesos raised, which we donated to frontliners for both PPE and food supplies.
The Race for Frontliners started with around 100 participants, but the numbers grew exponentially, and Tuason Racing believed they discovered something that could help with the main vision of growing the fan base for motorsports and providing venues for racers to develop their talents.
I think we found that in the beginning it was difficult to reach out to the players. We would have over 100 players every weekend come in and participate. But we found that as the weekends were going, we were starting to gain traction. It was getting bigger and bigger every race weekend, not only with the players, but also the viewers. So we knew that we were on to something good last year.
Tuason Racing also discovered that the e-racing series was a good fodder for creating content that interested motorsports enthusiasts and could be viewed on Facebook and other social media platforms.
I think the key to our success last year was not just organizing the races, but to turn that content into a kind of like a TV show, which we had on Facebook. So we had a Facebook page which had about 130,000 followers. And then when we put those online races as content on our Facebook page, we found that we would have hundreds of thousands of viewers. And it kind of just grew and grew and grew.
The second series organized by Tuason Racing confirmed these discoveries.
We moved into our second series last year, which we called the Formula V1 Virtual Cup, which was sponsored by Phoenix. And it was great because we basically turned our physical races into an online platform using very similar cars, and we even used the Clark Speedway in the series. So we had over 300 players, we had over 500,000 views, and it was great fun for not only us, but also the players.
Tuason Racing held its online races much like the physical races, which it believed made it more fun and real for participants.
And the beauty of this for us is by having these people come into e-racing, esports, it grows the motorsports fan base, which has always been our goal, to get more enthusiasts out there. And what we did is we took the experience that we had in organizing physical races, and use this in the virtual world. So we had virtual drivers briefings, we had stewards watching the races, we were giving out penalties, we had bulletins for the drivers, and I think the participants appreciated the professionalism in terms of how it was organized.
Tuason Racing is now making e-motorsports events a major part of its program for 2021, which also includes finally resuming physical races.
What we want to do this year is we want to marry what we learned last year and integrate that into our plans for 2021. So we're going to be running our virtual races at the beginning of the year, starting in May. And we're going to be doing activities this year with Toyota. We're going to be doing activities this year with Phoenix. And as the year progresses, we're going to be moving towards physical activities where track-based races can actually happen. So in the second half of the year, we're going to be running a lot of these physical races, and we're going to be taking the physical events that we do and turning that into content and bringing that to the motorsports enthusiasts that can't make it out to the track because, again, of all the safety protocols. And hopefully by taking this content to them online, we can again grow the motorsports fan base in the Philippines.
Already, Tuason Racing is busy preparing for the holding of the 2021 Formula V1 Virtual Cup, with plans to hold an Asian Virtual Cup, an invitational e-racing event participated in by teams from Japan, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Also envisioned is a Formula V1 Nations Cup, where the best of the Philippine e-racers can battle against teams from all over the region. Tuason Racing is also planning to hold on-track races, the Formula V1 Challenge.
We're going to be concentrating on racing this year at the Clark Circuit. So we're going to be doing 3 weekends of racing for Formula V1 at Clark. And I think it's very important for us to just kind of stay put, because logistically that's where it can become a bit dangerous. So by having all the equipment just in one place, running multiple races on a single race weekend, and keeping the number of weekends to a minimum. So we're only running this year 3 weekends of Formula V1.
Does Tuason Racing believe it can safely hold physical races this year?
We hope this year that things will change, though, because we're very optimistic. You know, motorsports has already started up in Thailand, in Malaysia, in Japan. They've always been racing, even last year. And I think the Philippines will follow suit. You know, it's not yet over, but people are already starting to get vaccinated. I think if the proper protocols are put in place, motorsports can be done, because very simply, we don't have a lot of people being together, right? It's not a physical sport in terms of people being close together, motorsports. So long as it's organized well and the protocols are in place, I think we can run motorsports events very safely.
It is to JP Tuason and his team's credit that they look to come out stronger from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, branching out into esports, and all the while continuing with preparations to resume on-track racing as quarantine restrictions ease. And that's this week's World of Motorsports. Motoring Today continues right after this break.
I think my dad is secretly a superhero. He's the coolest, smartest, strongest person alive. No matter where we go, he always makes sure I feel safe. And he isn't afraid of anything. My dad likes to call that the power to lead. I call it his superpower.
Welcome back to Motoring Today. Let's now take a look at what's happening in the local auto industry.
Volkswagen Philippines has been teasing us with drip after drip of information about its popular T-Cross subcompact SUV, which will soon launch in the local market. The latest tidbit indicates who the Ayala-backed local distributor of VW vehicles is targeting for T-Cross that has achieved success since its global debut in 2018 and selling over 300,000 units in 2020 despite the COVID-19 pandemic.
We do notice a trend towards SUVs here in the Philippines. Particularly, the subcompact SUV is one of the new and emerging segments. And so we wanted to toss our hat into that ring and offer Filipinos an option in that segment. And fortunately also, a product such as the T-Cross is available within the product portfolio of Volkswagen globally that we think is very well suited to the young and not so young, trendy and not so trendy, and of course, flexible lifestyles of Filipino automotive buyers.
VW Philippines says the T-Cross is for the I am more than one thing generation of young, accomplished professionals continually reaching for new successes in an uber-competitive world. These are the people who look for vehicles that could match your dynamic personalities and lifestyles. Volkswagen describes this generation of dynamic individuals in I am terms, starting with I am cool. VW says the T-Cross is perfect for the cool generation with its trendy exterior design and youthful interior layout that reflects its owner's sophisticated yet fun sense of style. The colors to be made available locally have also cool names: Tribu, Seringa Violet, Romance Red, Polar White, and even Chinchilla Gray.
So it's been given awards for its design and its style in different regions of the world, including Germany, of course, Volkswagen's home country, the UK, and South America.
The T-Cross is also for those who say I am versatile. VW maintains the 5-seater SUV is also versatile. From your work to your weekend hobbies and recreations, the T-Cross can carry all the loads that come with the lifestyle of the active millennial. For those who say I am comfortable, Volkswagen answers with a list of amenities in the T-Cross that are exactly where you'd instinctively think they'd be. These include controls for the infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and App Connect, rear air conditioning and USB sockets for back passengers, and soft seat cushion and comfortable steering wheel perfect for long out-of-town drives. Finally, the T-Cross is for those who say I am safe, boasting 5-star ratings from the New Car Assessment Program or NCAP in the European, Australasian, and Latin regions.
Yes, we are bringing in a sufficient initial volume of T-Cross vehicles that we expect will be taken up very quickly. And so we have the ability to replenish that supply fairly soon. We expect that consumers, because of the popularity of the subcompact SUV segment, we will get a lot of sales from this vehicle. And also because within that segment, certainly I would expect the Volkswagen T-Cross, because it carries the Volkswagen badge, to have a very good cachet relative to its competitors in the segment. So we are very hopeful, we are quite excited that many more Filipinos will find themselves driving a Volkswagen T-Cross in the near future.
Suzuki Philippines has brought back its Suzuki Auto Festival Virtual Roadshow, a venue for interacting with its loyal patrons and customers as well as new members of the Suzuki community. Like the first two roadshows held in September and November last year, the first Auto Festival for this year was held online through Suzuki Philippines' Facebook page. Over 2 days, Suzuki hosted scheduled virtual roadshows with presentations of its various products as well as interactive games that many participants win prizes. A new segment was introduced during this third virtual roadshow, the Dealer Spot, which gave Suzuki's various dealerships the opportunity to individually showcase their own network and unique promo offerings. During the 2-day AutoFest, some customers got exclusive promos including 10,000 peso discounts for those who use Suzuki's Auto's Get Quote function on its website. We are truly delighted to welcome back our Auto Festival virtual roadshows, especially for those who have been eagerly anticipating our yearly Auto Festival, said Keiichi Suzuki, Vice President and General Manager for Automobile of Suzuki Philippines. Toyota Motor Philippines has released a list of dealerships authorized to accept reservations for its legitimate pocket rocket, the GR Yaris hatchback. Toyota earlier announced that it will be bringing in the GR Yaris by the third quarter of the year. It added that the GR Yaris, to be made available locally, will be powered by a 1.6-liter turbocharged inline-3 engine that generates 257 horsepower and will come with a GR4 4-wheel drive system. The retail price is 2.65 million pesos. The Coolray continues to attract buyers much like it did when it was first rolled out by Sojitz G Auto Philippines or SGAP, local distributor of Geely vehicles in the country. SGAP reports that the Geely Coolray got great first quarter results with 744 units sold, after consistently topping monthly sales in the 5-seater subcompact crossover segment since the start of the year. SGAP also reports that Geely sold a total of 1,313 units in the first quarter, or a 345% increase from the 295 units sold in the same period last year. Of the total, 531 or 40% of sales were Okavangos, Geely's 7-seater SUV crossover. SGAP also is quite happy with setting a new monthly sales record for the Geely, selling 533 units in March and surpassing the old record of 520 achieved in December 2020. The numbers speak for themselves. We are happy that we continue to maintain and even surpass our own highest record. This is reflective of our collective effort to rise above pandemic challenges, says SGAP outgoing president and CEO Mikihasa Takayama. Geely has set itself a target of 9,500 units sold this year, a goal that is becoming more challenging. We're still hoping that the situation gets better in the coming months for us to realize this business volume target, says SGAP Sales and Marketing General Manager Froilan Litangkir. SMC Asia Car Distributors Corporation, official distributor of BMW automobiles and motorcycles in the Philippines, has announced the launch of limited edition variants of several BMW Motorrad models. The limited edition variants celebrate 40 years since BMW pioneered its enduro motorcycles, the BMW R100 GS and the R80 GS.
For this launch, we recently introduced the 40 years GS, meaning it's been really 4 decades of the GS model for BMW Motorrad. So the first GS was launched in 1980 with the R80 GS, but the commemorating color of what we call as the Bumblebee color, the black and yellow version, started with the R100 GS, also around 1981-82. 4 decades now of BMW GS, and as you may know, GS stands for Geland Strasse. Geland meaning off-road, meaning land, and then Strasse or street or on-road.
6 motorcycle models and Motorrads lined up in the Philippines will be adopting the 40 years GS limited edition specifications. These are the BMW G310 GS, F750 GS, F850 GS, R90 Urban GS, R1250 GS, and the R1250 GS Adventure. The 40 years GS limited edition motorcycles will be only available for model year 2021 and will be limited in number.
We'd like to take this opportunity to invite all our viewers or all our STV followers to go through our 5 dealerships nationwide. We have RSA Motors in Libis, Quezon City. We have Premier Cars / Motorrad for Pampanga. And we also have Motor Ace BMW in Cavite, Daanghari, Cavite. And then for provincial dealers, we have AutoWealth BMW in Cebu and Motoman BMW Motorrad in Davao. So those are 5 dealers nationwide. So they can visit anytime. There's no more lockdown in those areas. Yeah. But we are still operating for the next 2 weeks, most likely on skeletal workforce.
Motoring Today now brings you our Car of the Week on Showcase, courtesy of Prudential Guarantee. On this week's edition of Showcase, we take a look at the Mazda 6 2.5-liter Skyactiv G Turbo Sedan.
If you're looking for a sleek and classy mid-size sedan to drive or to be driven in, then maybe the new Mazda 6 is for you. It is arguably among the sleekest and classiest sedans on the road these days. The Mazda 6 can stand out in a lineup of sedans in a parking lot. Easily catches the eye as it zooms past. Mazda has successfully adapted design cues from the Mazda Vision Coupe, named the most beautiful concept cars of the year at the 33rd Festival Automobile International back in 2017, and the making of the Mazda 6 looks sleek and stylish. One can easily see the Mazda Vision Coupe's design elements in the Mazda 6 2.5L Skyactiv G Turbo Sedan, which is 4,870mm long, 1,840mm wide, and 1,450mm at its highest point. The slit-eyed, swept-back adaptive LED headlights feature auto on and off and auto leveling function. The mesh grille mimics in part the distinctive fascia of the Mazda Vision Coupe. External features are not only aesthetics but also functional. The body-colored side mirrors adjust and folds electronically. The wipers turn on automatically when it rains. Other external features include dual exhaust pipes and electric glass sunroof. It is also shod in distinctive 19-inch alloy wheels wrapped by 225/45 R19 tires. The interior of the Mazda 6 2.5L Skyactiv G turbo sedan can also be described as sleek and classy. The deep chestnut dapple leather upholstery for seats and trim coupled with sandalwood accents can only be described as classy. Leather also goes on the steering wheel and the shift knob. Sleek and almost minimalist describes the dash and instrumentation. Cutting edge and luxurious describe the functionality and convenience inside the Mazda 6. A smart keyless entry system makes ingress and egress very convenient. It's also got power everything: windows, steering, door locks, plus push engine start-stop button, automatic dual-zone climate control system with rear ventilation loops. The driver's seat is ventilated for cooling or warming, and power adjust hand waist with memory function to remember the perfect driving position. The front passenger seat is also ventilated and power adjusts 6 ways. The rear seat for 3 splits and folds 60/40 and comes with a fold-down center armrest with 2 USB ports. There are buttons and switches on the steering for audio and Bluetooth as well as cruise control. There are also paddle shifters. A 7-inch LCD display provides a neat info for driving. Audiophiles will love the infotainment system that uses the Mazda Connect system and comes with touchscreen LCD monitor, USB port, Bluetooth connectivity for hands-free and smartphone mirroring, and an 11-speaker Bose sound system. Exciting and safe both describe the Mazda 6 2.5L Skyactiv G turbo sedan driving experience. This starts with the 2,488cc 4-cylinder 16-valve DOHC gasoline engine. With Skyactiv G Dynamic Pressure Turbo, the engine generates 231 PS at 5,000 revolutions per minute and 420 Nm of torque at 2,000 RPM. The engine is mated to a Skyactiv Drive 6-speed automatic transmission with Sport mode. The driver can control gear shifts with paddle shifters. The suspension uses McPherson struts in front and multi-link system in the rear. The brake system uses front ventilated and rear solid discs and comes with electric parking brake and auto brake hold functions. The Mazda equipped the 2.5L Skyactiv G turbo sedan with loads of driver assist and safety technology features that include lane departure warning with lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, front and rear parking sensors, 360-degree view camera, anti-lock brake system with electronic brake force distribution, and dynamic stability control. Other safety features include 6 airbags, child locks ISOFIX, and seatbelts with signal warning lamp for front and rear passengers.
SUVs and crossovers may have the numbers in sales these days, but the Mazda 6 certainly makes a good case for choosing sedans. That's our featured vehicle on this week's showcase, courtesy of Prudential Guarantee.
Drive worry-free with Prudential Guarantee's auto insurance program with a free 24-hour nationwide roadside assistance included with your comprehensive auto insurance. Rest assured, we'll take care of you and your car wherever you are. Prudential Guarantee's auto insurance program, 100% worry-free driving.
We now have our public service segment brought to you by Honda Cars Philippines.
Authorities have long been promoting active transportation, especially during the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. This, however, comes with problems, especially to the cyclists themselves. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority and the Department of Transportation, along with private sector partners, have put up bicycle lanes on the country's major roads. As we all know, these lanes are for the exclusive use of cyclists and those who use e-scooters and the like. However, some motorists seem to be frequent violators of this, some in two-wheel vehicles, some four wheels. The MMDA is consistently penalizing violators of the bicycle lane. We hope that this will continue and for all of us to take part in sharing the road. And with the effort of both the government and the private sector, as well as the growing community of cyclists, we shall all remember that as road users, whether you are a motorist, commuter, pedestrian, or cyclist, we need to share the road with others and respect one another.
And that's our public service segment from Honda Cars Philippines. And should you yourself encounter motoring problems that need immediate attention, please feel free to contact us. See the details being flashed on your screen. And that's the week that was in motoring. Thank you for joining us. Also, please don't forget to check us out on social media.
Until next week here on Motoring Today, now on its 34th year of continuing service to the general motoring public with a lifelong commitment to promote road safety. Stay healthy and be vigilant at all times. On behalf of our dad, Butch Gamboa, I'm Ray Louie Gamboa.
And my name is Susie Gamboa.
Happy motoring!